Public officials and advocates for victims of crime are trying to restore spending levels for witness protection. Over the last 8 years, state spending on protection for each case has declined sharply, and many believe a lack of protection makes violent crimes more difficult to solve. Among those trying to increase funding are two guests, the founder of the Women Survivors of Homicide movement, Mary Franklin, and a member of the movement, also a survivor, Norma Hilton. Thank you both very much for being with us.
Thanks, Chris.
I want to start with Mary Franklin. Talk about what goes on when there is witness protection. Does that mean you leave the state and live incognito, or is it something that's maybe not quite as elaborate?
Well, Chris, I think a lot goes on. It's really about protecting the witness and protecting them in whatever way, whether it's another state, a apartment, relocating their child if they have children, their school, even the hospital. So it's really the whole picture of protecting someone, you know, that they can come forth safely and give information that they have regarding homicides.
What about the fear?
Well, I mean, I think the fear is there, of course, but I believe that there's this new flavor or wind in the air, if you will, that people are really getting tired of hearing, no, we have no information. It's been 19 years, it's been 15 years for different people. And I think that people are now saying to themselves, you know, I know something, I'd like to step up and say something, but I want to be safe about it. So I think it's changing in the communities.
Norma Hilton, you're still waiting for the change.
Exactly.
How many years are we talking about?
31 years.
And tell us about this. This is your son who's killed, right?
Yeah, that's my son. And he died in March 30th of 1984. So it's 31 years to be exact since it happened. And nothing has been done about it. So finding this organization, and we're trying to see if we can really get this fund to do that if we need any protection, or if somebody else will come out and say, well, I'd seen this, or I know somebody in there. And they don't have to have that fear to come and say something so we can have it solved.
Well, certainly whoever did it knows something, but do you have anything that gives you hope that somebody else might have seen something to help solve that case?
I don't know. It depends on who's out there and who wants to come forward and say, well, I know about this. But as I said before, being in this organization, it will be a great help for somebody to come forward and said, oh yes, I saw this, I knew this person, or I knew that person, or, you know, whatever they can do to help. Solve it.
And also, Chris, I think hope, when you say the word hope, I think now that comes from this organization, Women Survivors of Homicide movement, women who have dared to step up and say, we're no longer afraid, we have lost our loved ones, these cases are not being solved, we have to be a voice, and we have to be those advocates to really let the community know that it's okay to want to understand and to want some type of justice. So I think that is the hope.
Well, one thing I've seen about other parts of the country is that if you have enough resources to get a witness out of a threat zone, you can get some good results. But right now, I guess what the officials, including DA Dan Connolly, is saying is that we don't have nearly as much money as we did a few years ago.
That's right. Years ago, it started at 1 million. It went down to 500,000, and at present time, it's 94. But to really be honest with you, it's zero. There is nothing in that account. And our governor has proposed $113,000. When it takes at least $10,000 per witness to secure these people, right now, our district attorney's office is using a mere $2,100 to protect people, and that's just unacceptable, and it's not working.
Right. Norma, you're also taking part in another part of this campaign. You're one of the survivors who appear in a billboard with a message. Yes. Talk about that.
That's we appear to let people know that we are out there and we want the problems solved. So we're asking them nicely and respectfully, speak, come up, say something. You don't have to be afraid. because we're trying to get that protection for you. So please do that. Don't have any fear. No one is going to hurt you. We just want some of these problems solved, because it's a long time now.
And Mary, this is not strictly about being a witness in court where people can see you. I guess it could even mean anonymous tips too.
Right.
Exactly.
There's every way that this could be done. I mean, people could be behind some type of a screen. I mean, there would be other ways. You could even use probably a voice, muffle a voice.
That's right.
But what I think, Chris, here is the real issue. We have to look at this program in a different way. It's not just about the money. Even if you get $1 million, there are other components to this that have to be looked at. Start working together. Let's really look at this program, see what's wrong with it, and fix it. And I think some of the ways to do that would be the law enforcement, even school officials, educators need to be involved, hospitals and health centers, daycares and community centers, because children see things also and go back to these people and say, you know, well, gee, I saw this or I heard this conversation. So what do these people do with that information? And even with the media, I think that there could be more sensitivity and empathy around using people's names and their addresses. We have to look at the whole program.
So, yeah.
Well, Norma, one thing you're doing is you're putting yourself out there. You took part in the billboard, the announcement about the billboard, and there's been a big push at the State House where the survivors are out in force. You can see who they are. How do you feel about doing that?
I'm not afraid. I don't have any fear in doing that, because somebody have to speak up. Somebody have to do something. But there are a lot of people out there who are maybe afraid to come forward. But with us, you know, getting up and doing something for them will help them to come out. And as you said, they don't have to be seen. We can just use their voice or whatever it is it takes to get some of these things done.
And I think too, Chris, right, just to piggyback on that, we live in communities that are very violent, okay? And they're also great communities at the same time. So, I mean, to step up like this, what is really the difference? We could walk out of our door any day and it could be us. And it has been us in a sense. Yeah. So, again, it's a new time, it's a new day. We have to step up and we have to speak up, because there are so many homicides out there that need to be solved, and there are people who have information and they want to come forward with it, but they have to do it safely.
I know the police have a tip line, but if people want some information about your organization, Mary, what's the best way for them to follow up?
Okay, it's WSOH Movement 14@gmail.com.
Thank you both very much, Mary.
Thanks
Franklin.
for having us. Thank you.
And Norma Hilton from Women Survivors of Homicide Movement. We'll have more news in just a moment.